Welcome to Get the Word Out. I'm Sarah Blessing, and today we are talking about Indivisible. This is a fantastic national organization that is also popping up across the country, and we have quite a few chapters in Indiana. And I'm interviewing two amazing women today that are helping to run the one in Wabash County,
Wabash Valley.
And it's Shannon Giles and Karina Moffett. And I'm just so thankful to meet these two women and to learn more about Indivisible. This is big with, who are you talking about with MSNBC? Who is that woman? She helps push it out, Indivisible, right?
Oh, Rachel Maddow.
Rachel Maddow, big fan.
That too.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Shannon, Karina, how are you two doing? And thank you so much for being here. All right.
We're doing good. We're intermittently exhausted.
I cannot. Why? I mean, it's not like anything's going on in our country right now. I mean, we're all just fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. The world's on fire, but other than that, we're doing great.
The news every day in Indiana, you guys, those of you watching across the country, we have our own stuff in the country, but in Indiana, it's been a little rough the last few weeks with our own Indiana democracy. So yeah. So I just want to let's talk about what is Indivisible. How can anybody join this group? Can you find if there is a local chapter in your county? If not, you can start one. I actually know women down here. It doesn't have to be women, but I actually know people down here that have started one in Southern Indiana. So what is Indivisible? Is there a local chapter, and how do you get involved? We're going to get into all of that. Who first wants to take what is Indivisible, the national group? Okay.
Yeah.
Karina, go for it.
So Indivisible at a national level, it does a really good job of networking the helping organizations. So getting those organizations that take care of people, which is something that we are going to need more and more as we go along. So things like food pantries and shelters and clinics, things like that. A lot of those charities tend to not really work hand in hand. And so they have a lot of mission overlap. So they do a lot of duplication of effort. And that ends up wasting resources, right? Because they end up doing a lot of the same thing in the same location because they don't really communicate with each other. And
Right.
so they waste resources, they waste money, they waste people power because they're not working together.
So I noticed this too, a lot of people are freaking the crap out about our country right now.
Yeah.
And they're all making their own little plans, but they're not organized with somebody else who's making a very similar plan, 15 minutes away or whatever. So is Indivisible, is it helping to organize everybody together and then let people work together on the same types of things instead of everybody being everywhere? So that actually seems really important.
So they don't have to be in direct competition with one another if they can work together on those places where they overlap with mission. Then they can save a lot of resources. They can save a lot of time and money and people power working together on those things where they have the same goals. And then, of course, when they're not overlapped, they can sort of go their separate ways and do their own thing. And that's sort of more evident in the places of sort of rallies and protests like the No King's Day, when they brought all of those different organizations together and had those mass mobilizations. That's when it's more obvious and it's really.
So Indivisible is working with 5051 movement to do the mass protests, the 50 states, 50 capitals, one movement. That's what 5051 means. And you guys are working with them to get the word out about the protests. I have heard that just saying the word protest is being suppressed right now online, and that we're not supposed to use that word. So
some people are a little bit reluctant to use that just because it sounds a little bit negative, and so they lean a little bit more towards rally.
A rally, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then
I mean,
it
I think
has a more of a positive connotation. Go ahead.
yeah. I think the reason behind that, and we have made a switch here locally in the way we message some of what the organized events are that we do, is because the overarching message is not what we're against, but what we're for.
Right.
And
That's a good
so
idea.
it's much more important to say, we are for equal opportunity for all people. We're for, real democratic government, with little d, Democrat. And and we're for people, a basic social safety net, and people being, having access to whatever they need to live their fullest life, as opposed to being against. Not saying that we're not against what is currently happening, but I think
like that. I
we
think that's really
cast
smart.
a bigger net,
Yeah.
being for things as opposed to just against something.
Yeah. So you guys are evolving and changing your messaging, which I agree. I think that is a good way to go. Instead of just constantly blaming all the time, start saying, we want this. Every human being that lives in America should have these things. And let's fight for those things instead of saying, stop doing this terrible thing, you monster. It's like, no, we
Right.
want this.
Right.
I think that's a good way to go for everybody that's freaking the crap out about what is happening in America. I think that's a good tip that I think is very smart that you all are taking that approach. I also have been trying to take that approach with this
Well, and
media company.
the other piece of it is the current administration is all about the blaming, and all about trying to, target somebody, this is who is responsible for your lot in life. And I think to reframe that in a way that, that says, no, not really. This is what we think you are, that you deserve just as a human being in the United States of America. And, work with us to make that.
Right.
I think is a much better, way of addressing the issues that
Definitely
are being put forth.
Karina, do you know any info about when did Indivisible get started? I just only recently, I'd say a couple months ago, learn about this group. When did it start?
Yeah, so Indivisible itself actually started immediately after Trump got elected the first time.
Okay.
And it started not as an organization, but as a kind of as a playbook for how people that were in some sort of a government position could stay in their government positions and push back against the administration without losing their jobs or being overtly really political about it. So people who could kind of gum up the works or slow walk things that were really bad ideas, or people who could, people who were kind of lower level politicians could go, no, this is not a good policy. We don't support this policy, or things like that. It kind of like the adults in the room, like they had in the first. And so because that playbook, which they called the Indivisible Guide, was so extremely popular, just immediately took off. The people who wrote that guide ended up forming a group, and that's where Indivisible came into being.
And I went to
it just kind of exploded from there.
Okay. I went to indivisible.org, which is the national homepage. I just typed in Indivisible and it popped up. And on the front there, they just kind of explain how they're against kings and authoritarianism.
Right.
Whenever I say those words on this platform, authoritarianism, I get a lot of pushback from people that think I sound so stupid, because they're like, we have a government, Sarah. We have a,
Right.
a Senate and a state house, and we have a Supreme Court. We don't live in we don't have a king. And it's like,
Right.
yes, but we have governments that pose as democratic, like in
Right.
Russia, for example, where it
Yep.
looks like you get to vote for your leader and it looks like they have
Yep.
systems in place, but actually oligarchs and the main person, Putin, is controlling everything. He's the puppet
Putin has
master
been
saying, you do
freely
this.
elected every single time.
Yeah, and he gets like all the votes.
Right?
And so
Yeah.
and so
Shocking
we
how that
see
works.
steps in America now where this is happening, and where the Supreme Court isn't really listening to the rule of law sometimes, and they go
Right.
against what our Constitution says we should do. We see the Congress voting against the majority of people's rights, and they're listening to whoever is in charge saying, if you don't do this, we'll get you voted out, we'll ruin your careers, we'll go after you, maybe we have blackmail, maybe we have embarrassing information about you that we will pump out if you don't do what we say. And
Right.
so I just want to explain to people, yes, I realize we have the courts and we have checks and balances. Our checks and balances are starting to crumble a little bit. They're starting
Right.
to, and we still have a democracy. We can still save this. And Indivisible is one piece of a way that we protect America and we get more rights back. But I just want people to understand there are things happening, and some of us are more aware than others. Not blame anybody that's not aware. You might be working two jobs, or you might be struggling to put food on the table or just keep your family housed. You got to take care of that. That comes first. You got to make sure your kids have food, So
Right.
it's not, there's no blaming. It's like, but those of us that are privileged, like I don't have to work. My husband works and makes enough money. I'm so lucky. I see it because I have time, and I'm listening to podcasts, and I'm talking to people, and I'm friends with people like you guys, that are doing the things, and we're all listening and seeing it. So there is a disconnect, is what I'm telling you all. There's a disconnect. You all see it. And a bunch of people coming to your meetings see it. People going to indivisible.org and putting their email in, they see it. But a majority of the country doesn't. And that is where I want to come in with Project Next and be like, you need to realize most people don't get it. Most people don't understand
Yeah.
And that's
authoritarianism.
by
You know what I'm
design
saying?
too, right?
What'd you
That's
say?
by design.
Yes, it's on purpose. Yes.
Well, I think that 99% of people, 99% of the time, are not affected by what goes on at a federal level. And so it is very easy to, to just gloss over and believe that, the way our government is being run is chapter and verse from what's in the Constitution. So I think where the wake up call is happening and needs to continue to happen is, don't go by what it says, go by what you see and go by what is happening. And shining a bright light on an infection cures it. And that's what we are trying to do through Indivisible, is shine that bright light, uncover the places where the more authoritarian efforts are happening, so that so that people can not only see it, but then also be able to connect it to what is happening in their daily lives. Because there may not be a connection right now, but there will be. And so the sooner that connection gets made for more people, the sooner we start to unravel what has been put together in Washington.
Another piece of this is, I disagree with one thing you said. You said national government doesn't have an effect on our lives. It does. National government has been hurting us for a while. It's that we don't see it. We don't understand.
That's my point, is people don't
get it. They don't
see
get
that
the
connection.
And it's so confusing. It's so confusing. It's laws and numbers and funding getting cut here and this person getting fired there. And it's like you're doing a conspiracy theory, mad web, trying to connect all the things. And it's so much, right, you all? There's so much that is being cut. There's so much blaming of people that have nothing to do with our problems, it's really hard to combat. It's like I could do 10 shows a day for 10 hours and not touch the surface of the problems hurting most Americans right now.
Well,
I think part of it.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
You go, Karina.
I think part of it is there's this huge lag, right? Normally, things don't happen this quickly, right?
Yes.
When they make big changes in DC, those changes don't really affect us until months or even years later, right? They don't have a big effect on us until a couple of years down the line. And so when that big bill gets passed, then the effect on us doesn't occur until a couple of years later. And then we're like, oh, well, what did those horrible so-and-sos do to us? And so there's that lag there. And so people don't really get the correlation, the causation. Truly, they don't get the causation of these people passed this bill, and so they are the cause of my misery. Right.
Well, and I think the important thing is to put it into some real world context. At the end of the year, the Affordable Care Act tax benefits run out, and the rates are going to go up. Okay, if you're not on marketplace insurance, why do you care? Well, if you're on Medicaid, or if you are a taxpayer in the state of Indiana, when all those people who can't afford marketplace, who can't afford Obamacare, all of a sudden apply for Medicaid, and then the Medicaid rates go up, and some people who may really need it, get bumped off. Yeah, then it starts to affect everyday Americans. When the guy in Sullivan County who couldn't care less about Medicaid cuts, falls and breaks his leg and then has to drive an hour to the hospital in Terre Haute because the Sullivan Hospital had to shut down because it wasn't getting enough Medicaid reimbursement, then he cares. Yeah. It's just making those connections and showing the real world applications of things that most people hear and think, oh, that's not my problem. How is it going to become your problem? And those are the kinds of things that we want to make sure that people understand.
Right.
That
that if we push
that
back
it affects
on
everyone.
If we push back on it, shine a light on it, if we come up with a plan to fix things, we can make things better, but it's long, slow, and hard. And a lot of us that are panicked, we've been so hurt by extreme government that we've had for a while now. The pandemic, I think we're still not recovered from. The anxiety that everybody get added on to, the anxiety we're all feeling, that we're all panicked. It is hurting our mental health. And so even in organizations where we're fighting to stop this, we're all not necessarily 100% mentally healthy people because of what we're going through. And so that can make running organizations hard. And I'm seeing organizations struggling for power. And sometimes the extreme people, the people that are high anxiety and not always the most compassionate, empathetic people, are pushing other people out. And in my tip to those people, which are some of my close friends that recently got kicked out of the 5051 movement in Indiana, my tip for you is don't take it personal. It's their problem. It's their trauma. It's their not understanding, and go find someplace else. So if you got kicked out of 5051, go to Indivisible. Go see if your local chapter of Indivisible is a little better. If not, go to the next thing, because the good news is there are a ton of great organizations like this one popping up, and you just keep searching until you find one that welcomes you.
That's the right fit. Yeah.
That's the right fit for you and what your cause is. If you have a specific cause, like I had Miranda Williams on, who cares a lot about parole and probation. She works for Reform Alliance. And so that's an organization that has helped to push 22 laws across the country to help people with probation and parole. And that's amazing. So if you have one little niche, look out for that one. There's a lot of groups out there. We have Hoosier Action down here in Southern Indiana. Have you all heard of that? That's a good one, where you find which little thing your you care about and you find people that connect with. But I want to talk about something, and I wonder if you guys are aware of it, because we're stuck in Indiana. So we're
Mhm.
stuck with supermajority Republicans destroying our lives. What I've realized now that I'm becoming more national and I'm talking to like national Republicans that are good people, the Democrats do this too in other states. It's just that we're being hurt by the Republicans in Indiana. And we need to recognize it's not one party's the savior and one party's the monster. Both parties can be bad. In our state, the Republicans are bad. But in like Illinois, in the Chicago city area, there is massive Democrat corruption going on, and it's been going on for a long, long time. The Indy City Council could be better, even though it's the majority Democrats. So, like, I just want to point out, one political party is not the savior here, but
Mhm.
it's better to have groups like Indivisible, in my opinion, that aren't as partisan, that are for the people. And we
Right.
have to push our representatives on Democrat or Republican side to be better,
Mhm.
because like I used to be hardcore Democrats are going to save us, and then I kept getting hurt. I kept getting gatekeeping by the Democrats, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh." And then I would find groups like you all, and I'm like, "Oh, I like this group better." But sometimes these groups push you out.
Mhm.
You know what I
That's
mean?
that's why we have really made a point of saying over and over and over again, we are not partisan, we are not anti-Republican.
Right, right, right.
If we come out against a specific politician, it's because that politician is anti-democratic.
Right. They're not pushing we the
That's the
people.
only
They're
thing. Our
right.
only thing is we are pro-democracy.
Right.
So
Right.
if we're up against you, that's on you.
And that's why you're on this show. That's what I am too.
Right.
We need to call out people that aren't listening to us. They're listening to money or lobbyists or their political party telling them, if you don't do this, you get kicked out of your party. And so you kind of have to get out of that and shine a light on it
Mhm.
and see
Yeah.
if local and why.
And so we
Sharon,
try
can we
to
talk about this? Why do we need local? Why do we need you, the listener, involved in your local politics?
Because 90% of what happens to people that affects their lives happens on a local level. For
Absolutely.
example, here in Indiana, with the Medicaid cuts that are coming down the pike and with the property tax cut that the Republican supermajority put into effect, which is going to save the average homeowner like less than $300, which they won't even notice. What that has done is push down to the local level, because the property taxes are collected at a local level. Here in Terre Haute, about a $1.5 million revenue loss. And so the local level, so your policemen, your firemen, your schools, your, water infrastructure, all of those things that are maintained at a local level are affected by what happened at the state level.
Yep.
And so they do it because they think it makes them look good, but with no consideration about how it's going to impact the local services that we all rely on. And that's where what we do at a local level has to start trickling up, not just trickling down. and so that's why the local connections, the local coalitions are so important, because the more of those that exist, then we are able to kind of collaborate and start to impact things
It
further up the pipeline.
very quickly, you can see if your local government wants you to know what they're doing. In Harrison
Absolutely.
County, where I
Yes.
live, it is very difficult to get information about what they are doing.
Mhm.
Their notes that they put on don't make sense. You would need to attend 3, 4 meetings before you start connecting what anything is going on.
Yep.
They make it very hard for regular people to come in and speak. They limit how long you can speak. So it's pretty quickly you can see our local government in Harrison County does not want you to know what's going on. And if they do, they might pump out a very favorable message of how great they're doing. But if you start digging, you're like, wait a minute, why are they giving so much money to parks? Why aren't they giving money for this? Wait, what? And so I do that in contrast to my favorite mayor, who I'm friends with, Treva Hodges. She's mayor of Charlestown.
Mhm.
And she pumps out at least weekly messages on her social media. She makes
Mhm.
everything as transparent as possible. She takes really confusing laws and things that are going to be passed that could hurt her town, and she comes out and explains how it could hurt her town and what we need to do. And it's like, so if you just do a little digging, everybody, in what's going
Mhm.
on locally with your town council, your county council, your commissioners, or your mayors, you can see, are they hiding behind the
Yeah,
fact
and
that we don't?
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes you'll find a huge difference between your city council and your county council.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah. So it is interesting. And like, if you just talk to your local people in your neighborhood, do you know anything
Absolutely.
about your town council or your county council or
Right.
commissioner? See what they say.
Yep.
Most people have no clue. I didn't know anything about local government until I quit
Yep.
teaching and started looking into it myself. I just had
Yep.
no clue. Yeah.
And that's by design too.
Yeah, that's on purpose. Yeah. And I'm gonna go, if I feel okay. Tomorrow, I'm invited to Jason Kerber's Republican gala event. He's running for sheriff against the current sheriff in Floyd County, Steve Bush.
Mhm.
And I'm friends with Jason, and he's a Republican. I'm going to try to go to this event tomorrow. And my plan is to ask all these really nice Republicans, because this will be the second Jason event I've been to. So I like a lot of his friends. They're really nice people. I'm going to ask them if they know what's happening in Indiana. Like, do you know anything about the gerrymandering in Indiana?
Mhm.
Do you know about Micah Beckwith's town hall and how he's getting people that don't like what he's doing arrested, and sometimes they're getting hurt and having to go to the hospital, and they're like really
Yeah.
tiny women, and then he kind of calls them mentally ill and like says they have mental problems, and like, do you know this is going on? And I'm going to guess most of these Republicans coming to support Jason, who's the legit good person, have no clue. What do you all
Yeah.
think about that?
Yeah. Well, when Micah came here, it was instantly clear that he was here to stroke his own ego and not to listen. He absolutely did not listen to a single person that came up to the mic.
It's very scary to me that he's a pastor for a mega church, and he still
Like-
does that job full time while he's lieutenant
Like-
governor of Indiana.
Well,
Right.
to the Republicans' credit, he was forced on them.
Yes, he was.
And by some other Republicans,
He's
but
too
not.
extreme for
He
our
pats
all of
himself on the back
Yeah.
for that.
But
That he fights
after-
more with Republicans.
Yeah. After that town hall, there were a couple of county commissioners who were Republicans, and our state senator, Greg Good, was there. And I texted with Greg Good because he left early. And I said, smart move. And he was like, yeah, it got, really.
Yeah, so the Republicans in our own state don't seem to like this extreme man.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so
he's piece of work.
and the Democrats had the same problem in the Biden administration, because the progressive wing of Congress had a very hard time getting any traction for the things that they wanted to do, because Biden was extremely moderate and most of the Congress is moderate. And so, it's not party specific, but I think when the progressive side, or regressive, I guess maybe in the case of the Republicans, side of the party in power gains that majority, gains that upper hand, is when we start to see the Micah Beckwiths of the world start to get a voice and start to get some traction and start to feel like they've got some sort of mandate to think and believe the way they do, which is not even close to to speaking as the voice of the state of Indiana.
This is the undercurrent of what has happened in our country in the last,
Right.
I would say, since Obama became president. The undercurrent is we have this social media, we have this technology, we can organize and we can get out there, and there is good to be found on social media. We're meeting today because of it. But the undercurrent of bad is these social media, these news sources, they're profiting off of our fear, hate, and division. And this is how this has helped to lead to people like Micah Beckwith having extreme power in Indiana. Most people, including most Republicans, do not like this man, yet he has so much power and he's doing so much damage to every Hoosier. And what he says gets dumped out on social media because it sells. People are engaged. People are watching. I bet a lot of people have watched this town hall where this woman was, it was painful to watch, where she was pushed to the ground and arrested just for speaking out against Micah Beckwith and what he was doing in authoritarianism.
And she's a sweetheart,
sells.
and she
Yes,
is
she's a nice
tiny,
person.
tiny
She's
woman.
tiny. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
Well,
know of her. Yes, she's
and I
she's
think-
trying really hard to help Indiana.
I think what your comment about going back to Obama is, a lot of people have the impression that the racism, the xenophobia, the homophobia, all of the phobias that seems so prevalent now, they're like, where did all this come from? It's been here. It's been here the whole time.
But
It's
also,
been
it's
here
pushed.
since Obama.
We're
But
constantly putting
it's
sticks
been
in the flame and making
normalized.
it. Yes,
It's been normalized by people in leadership positions, people in positions that seem to that people, for whatever reason, believe are entitled to a level of respect and authority that, by virtue of their job, have, when they start talking that way, it normalizes it for those people who already feel that way, but have been keeping it in, under wraps for a while. But
what
now
I'm
it's all been
finding,
normalized.
this is what I used to think, what you're saying. What I'm finding now, though, is that's true with our leaders. And that's true with on both sides. They become too extreme. And that's true with a lot of people that have become radicalized online, radicalized to the far left and radicalized to the far right. But when you actually get out and door knock, when you actually go to a festival in your town and you talk to people, most people aren't that way. They don't want to hurt people's rights, and they don't realize that their side is hurting people's rights because they're either not paying attention, they haven't been radicalized online, and they're not listening to what's going on in their local government. So, like, I see what you're saying, and a part of the country has become radicalized because of the internet and social media and profiting off of our fear, hate, and division. But for most Americans are not that extreme. And that's where I struggle when I talk to my Democrat friends, and I'm like, most Republicans are not bad people here. A lot of the people running the county council and town council aren't bad people.
Right.
And it's like, but I can't convince them. And they get mad at me and they stop listening to me. And
But
that's,
the extremes make the headlines.
the
And
extremes make the
and so
headlines.
that
So we think
it
everybody's
feels
extreme,
like the majority.
but it's
But
not.
the problem with that is most Germans weren't bad people either.
Right.
It's
I agree
the
with you.
people who just sat and didn't do anything
Right. I agree with you.
and let it
and-
happen.
But most
And it doesn't
Germans,
matter what their excuse was for not
but
getting
most
involved.
Germans didn't know they were doing that. And if they did, they
Right.
were told a version that wasn't as bad. People
Right.
didn't know
Well,
how
but
bad
that's
it was
exactly what's
until-
happening.
until
They're
the
they're
end
being
of the
told a
war.
version
Right.
right now. Republicans are being told a version
That seems
that
very
is not
palatable.
true. Right.
Yeah.
They're being told we're only picking up the worst of the worst.
But really,
not
it's
what's
anybody
actually
that's brown
happening,
skin and then
But
maybe
that's what
wasn't
they're
born
being
here.
told.
Yeah. Right.
They're being told that they're only sending rapists and murderers to CCOT. But that's not what's happening.
But I still think most people don't even know it's happening. I think most people don't know what's going on in Indiana with these concentration camps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that in Germany they did the same thing. Most people
Yes,
didn't
that's
know.
exactly right.
And maybe it's like,
But
why is this
that
my
allows it
Jewish
to
neighbor
happen.
gone? I don't know.
Mhm.
Moving on with my day. You
But
know,
that allows it to happen.
I agree.
Well, and so one of the things that we've been keeping track of is there is an immigration detention center in Brazil, Clay County. And we've been keeping track of how many people have passed through there. They're only ever there for a couple of days and then they're moved on to another place. But for example, since the beginning of August, almost 400 people have passed through that detention center in Brazil, either on their way someplace else or coming from someplace else, and they stay there for some number of days. We don't know anything about the conditions there. We don't know anything about, it started because I got wind of someone who had been brought there from Chicago who was diabetic and had heart problems and was not getting the treatment that they deserved. But I guarantee, there's 26,000 people who live in Clay County, 25,990 of them don't even know that Brazil has a detention facility, most likely, and that this is happening. And so there are an endless number of those kinds of examples of things that are being done under the radar that people would probably not be happy about.
Yeah,
if
most
they
people
knew.
would be upset if they actually saw what was happening in our state and across the country. Most people would be upset. You're right. The problem is they don't know. The problem also is we can't just scream at people. How dare you? You voted for Trump. How dare you? You did this. No, they didn't. They had no idea. Trump is telling them he's going to save them. He's going to make everything get better. He's going to make the prices go down. He's going to make gas prices go down. He's going to make food go down. He's telling them what they want to hear, and they're believing him. And it's not necessarily their fault. That's their news sources. That's their algorithm that's been pumped out to them. And the trick is, how do you talk to people without screaming, without looking so extreme, without protesting
that's
so
not,
loudly
that's
that
not,
we
no,
look,
that's not going to work.
yeah, we look so
No.
dorky and not cool when we're so extreme, even though a lot of what we're saying is true. That's not going to work. It's not going to pull people in that maybe voted for Trump, that maybe don't follow the news. They don't know these concentration camps are popping up.
Right.
So it's so much harder to talk to these people. You got to talk to them with empathy. You got to give a crap about them. And you're hurt. You're hurt because you see what is happening. You see that people that are struggling are suffering more. You see public education being defunded. You see healthcare being, messed with, and everything's going to be more expensive. And it's harder to go to hospitals. Hospitals close, all these problems, and you're mad about it, but we can't take it out on the voter that doesn't know. And I think
it's only going to get worse, right?
We're missing that. We're messing it up. I think if we would have been more empathetic to people that voted for Trump the first time, I think we could have prevented the second time, in my opinion. I think that's one of the things we messed up with.
Well, and I think the ignorance is not an excuse. I'm, if you get arrested for something and you say you didn't know it was against the law, you're still going to jail. Ignorance is not an excuse for not,
But isn't it an excuse? What if they weren't educated very well? What if the government that changed the law didn't do a good job of letting people know that was the law? I mean,
but what ends up happening is that connected to that ignorance is their self-awareness, their understanding of who they are. And if you point to these truths that directly fly in the face of everything they have been conned into believing, then it goes directly to who they are. It basically says, I allowed myself to be blindsided. I allowed myself to be snowed. And what does that say about me?
Right.
And so it's much more than an ignorance of the data, than an ignorance of the laws, than an ignorance of the circumstances. This goes directly to who I am. And if you prove me wrong, then who I am is somehow diminished.
Then I have to admit that I got suckered by a con man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But here's the deal. If you say nothing else about Trump, he is a fantastic con man. He is the best carnival barker we have ever seen.
Yeah. You're
Like,
so right.
really,
It's
like,
their identity.
honest to God, like, he is
Voting for the Republican
phenomenal.
side and voting for the
Yeah.
Democrat side has become our identity, and
Yeah.
we have to drop the labels.
But
We have got to drop the
yeah,
labels
here's the
in
deal.
order to like say it's not me. I'm not calling
Right.
you a bad person because you voted
Right.
for this person.
Right.
And but we're so identity politics, that's who we are.
Yeah. You need to make it not about them, and you need to make it not, you just have to get them first to stop and think, right? And not a direct attack, kind of a glancing blow, let's say. So on the case of the immigration thing, this is a lot of times the one that I will bring up first because it's so salient, it's so in the news so often. If you truly believe that they are only picking up the worst of the worst, if they're only picking up illegal aliens, that's what they use. If they're only picking up people who are here when they shouldn't be, who are trying to cheat the system, whatever, why are they picking people up from their court dates?
And picking up people from their jobs where they're trying
If
to work.
they're at their court dates, then they are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
But another issue,
If you think that all illegal immigrants are lazy and don't want to work, why are they pulling them out of the fields from their jobs?
and then this is sort of painful for me to admit, but the data shows the majority of at least people in Indiana don't seem to care about immigration as an issue. So they don't even look at this stuff or see it or know what's going on because it doesn't affect their lives directly. And
But it
so
does.
I agree with you,
But
they're
it
not,
does.
but they're not seeing it. Like they don't realize that when our immigrants that are working jobs that people don't want to do, like putting on roofs or working out in the fields in the hot,
Yeah.
and we don't have those people, infrastructure starts to fail and prices start to go up. But they don't see that. They don't
So
get
the
it.
infrastructure thing is too slow. The people have such short attention spans nowadays. That's not okay. Like that's not gonna. People are too flighty for that. The vegetable prices, that's gonna hit people real fast.
Yes, there's always
It's
something.
already happening.
But they don't know why. And
why?
Stop and
Just-
research.
just
They're
tell
just going to
them.
have to work harder
Why?
to pay for their vegetables.
Why
you know?
are vegetables so
Yes.
expensive?
Let them pay
Because there's
$8 for a
nobody to pick
potato.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So let's talk more about Indivisible.
Mhm.
I think we're pointing out why the extremes isn't working. Why just blindly liking your political party and thinking they're going to save us isn't working. And so now we see why there's
Oh yeah, the Democrats
organizations.
make me crazy too.
Yes.
Like
And the gatekeeping, the fear, the unhealthiness in the state party and what I deal with, and I'm run for state house. It makes me sick to my stomach. So we need local groups. And something I like about Indivisible is it's a national group, but you can start one locally. So we
Right.
just started, not me, but other of some of my friends, other people started a Southern Indiana Indivisible that meets around in the Floyd County area. And one of them, Patty, just came to our meeting, Harrison County Democrat meeting, and invited everybody to the next one. They meet monthly and they have emails and they put out all the things that are going on and which one do you want to help with? Do you want to help with immigration? Do you want to help with healthcare? Do you want to help? And then they can do it. So we see a need. We have a need, and we have an organization that started since Trump was elected the first time. So you all have been more organized in some of these other movements.
Yes. One of the great things about that is I've worked with a few different organizations. I've never been involved in organizational leadership before. This is my first time in a leadership.
You go,
I'm
girl.
usually way in the background. I'm never on camera. This is so far out of my comfort zone. but I've been having to fake it since April.
You're doing a
But-
great job.
She's awesome. Don't let her. Don't tell her.
I know. Be proud of yourself, girl. Look at you.
But when we started doing this, Jenny, my sister and I started the chapter here. We had been going over to Indianapolis, and we're like, it's over an hour drive there.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's just an hour, but trying to do that every weekend, we're like, no, we
How
don't
many
wanna do
people
this all the time.
were
This is
showing up
crazy.
at the Indianapolis Indivisible chapter
At
meetings?
that point, there were probably a good 100 plus at every
Wow,
meeting.
that's great. That's encouraging.
And of course it's grown phenomenally since that, because that was back in January, February.
Oh yeah, things have gotten much worse.
Yeah, that was back at the very beginning of the year.
It was
But
winter.
Jenny and I met, my sister and I got together right after the election, and we're like, what are we gonna do? We got to do something, because we're just gonna go stir crazy just sitting here like doom scrolling and not. Like, would you just let the anxiety eat us alive, right?
If
We've
you're
gotta do
watching this and
something.
you're doom scrolling and you're full of
Exactly.
anxiety,
Right.
here's an
So
out for
we
you.
started talking about what things, what causes, what sorts of advocacy sort of things meant the most to us, right? And I have a trans child.
Oh,
And
heart goes out to you,
I
my
have
friend.
an adopted biracial grandchild,
Oh,
and she is autistic,
Oh.
Mildly, but she needs some assistance. She needs some help. And my child and I both have a lot of health issues, and so we need a lot of like medications and stuff, and that's all really expensive. And so we deal with the health system and all of that. So like that's all a bunch of all of the healthcare.
So you're
fiasco
seeing
in this.
the needs that you and your family have. You're seeing
Right.
it being chipped away, right?
Exactly.
Taken away, money, every medicine's harder. You're seeing it in all factions, and you're like,
Yes.
how do I help with this? Yeah.
And my sister has 3 preteen to teenage girls, and so she was very concerned about the abortion issue and birth control and all of that kind of stuff, and maternal health care and all of that,
Because
so we
FYI,
started
Indiana
going through
women,
this
we've
list.
lost our healthcare rights.
Right. So
Yes.
so we were going through this list, and there's like, well, and we're both worried about the environment. I used to be a naturalist.
Oh.
So we were going through this list, and it was like, we care about everything, right? And we both knew, like, we can't do anything halfway. And so we knew if we got involved, we were just going to burn ourselves out at both ends.
Because there's too
like,
many things.
Instantly. Right.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling that. I think most
And
people
so-
are like you and care about all of this stuff, and it's too
Right,
much, and then
right.
your anxiety. And then
We
you can't
knew
do
we were
anything.
going to instantly burn ourselves out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so when we found out about Indivisible, we're like, okay, because they get all of these different organizations together to work
Yes.
together, it's a really great way to kind of get tangentially involved in a lot of different causes without burning yourself out. And then you can choose 1 or 2 things to really dig deep on, something that you're super passionate about to dig deep on, and still be kind of tangentially involved in those other things that you want to also help with.
That's kind of the sign of a healthy organization. I just want to point out,
Exactly.
if your organization is welcoming of other organizations,
Mhm.
and they also give each chapter the freedom to focus in on the things that they want to focus in, that's kind of the opposite of authoritarianism, dictatorship. Authoritarianism,
Exactly.
dictatorship is when they
Yeah.
say, no, you're going to care about this issue and you're going to pass this thing. And so right
Yeah.
now they're working on gerrymandering Indiana to take away the few
Yeah.
Democrat seats we have.
Yeah.
And everybody's just falling in line, even though it's we have 2 out of 9 that are Democrat. even though it's very unpopular across the state, it's unpopular. They're blindly following because the repercussions of them not doing it are personally too hard for them. So I
Right.
just want you to recognize the signs.
So they can't have
Indivisible
that.
Indivisible, more
bravery.
freedom based. What do you care about? What do you want to work on? Can you get it organized? Can you get people together? Can you help them?
Yeah.
If somebody
Yeah.
comes in and they say, I'm concerned about this, you say, here are these things, here are these resources. That's
Yeah.
healthy. That's
Yeah.
what we want. It's also more work.
Yeah.
It's also more work, and it's also
Yeah.
harder
Well,
because
Yeah.
people
Absolutely.
aren't healthy and they don't know how to
Right.
work with each
Right.
other.
yeah.
Right.
If you
So-
took a poll of our leadership team and asked them, what was the thing that brought them to Indivisible, you might have 12 different policy,
Exactly.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody came, because they were passionate about their thing.
A
Mhm.
different
And
thing.
Indivisible was a place where you could be passionate about your thing,
Your own
but
thing.
have the
Yeah.
have the strength behind you of an organization that was helping, fuel efforts to raise awareness of your thing in
Absolutely.
conjunction with
And
everybody
like I
else's
said,
thing.
Indivisible at a national level doesn't like micromanage the chapters.
I like that. Yeah, I
But
like that a lot.
they do encourage a kind of a hybrid horizontal leadership kind of
Yeah. So they're kind of like giving you
approach
tips and
so that they
saying it
get
should
a
be
lot of input. You get a lot of input
Right.
from all of the people that are involved in leadership. We try to get as much input as we can from anybody that wants to be involved. And sometimes we run into disagreements, but we try to work that out as best we can. But also, because it's been around for 8, 9 years now, they have so much support and like resources for leadership. Like there's online trainings and videos and documents and stuff for how to be a good leader and how to get your group together and how to keep them motivated and how to expand your group and all of that. And they share all of that stuff freely with any other organization that wants to have it.
Love that.
Like
I love
they
that
are
so
like,
much.
here, have this stuff, because we want everybody to be up to speed as quickly as possible. Like
Right.
we want to grow the resistance, and we don't care if you're 50-51 or whatever you want to call your resistance group. We don't care. We just want you to get up to speed as fast as you can.
Yeah, we
because
had a
we
group
want
called
you-
Leaning
we
Liberal,
wanna-
and it got morphed into, they started their own Indivisible chapter, and it's Southern Indiana Indivisible, and it's on Facebook, you all, and you can,
Yeah.
they also have like places you can get a newsletter. Here's yours. This is indivisibleWabashValley.org. So if you are in that area and would like to join these two wonderful people, these two wonderful humans and their team of people, this is a lot better than doom scrolling, anxiety filled. I guess the world's gonna end. This is a lot better of a place to go and to fight and to work, and let's make the lives of our children better. Let's not make it worse, and let's fight for them. Like,
Yeah.
I can sleep at night.
Well, and
every
that's,
night.
you know,
I
that's
can
the
sleep at
thing.
night because I'm doing
That's
stuff.
the thing is, right, exactly. And that's, I mean, November 5th, I was out of here. I had nothing. And,
Yeah.
and then, what it morphed into was, if every day I can do one thing,
Right.
doesn't have to be a big thing, can be
Right.
one thing. I can make one social media post. I can make, I can share one person's story. I can
Tell
write
one
letter.
neighbor.
And
One neighbor
Yeah,
who doesn't
you
know what's
know-
going on in Indiana, tell one neighbor what's going on.
Yeah.
That helps so much.
right.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to, be in a crowd at the Colt Stadium talking telling your story. If you do one thing, and if we all do one thing,
Mhm.
It
and
adds up.
so that's that's a lot of what the Indivisible story is all about, is that you just have to take that one step, and then you realize that you've got a lot of people around you stepping out with you, and it makes it a whole lot easier to take the next one.
Yeah. Don't they want us to feel hopeless? They
Right.
want us to feel
Yeah.
hopeless, like there's nothing
Yeah.
we can do, but there's so much more of us than that separates us. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell people there's so many more Republicans that would join us if we were more welcoming and empathetic.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
need to stop the rage. If we're
And
filled
we
with
need
rage,
that
and we're gonna
huge.
yell at
We're
people.
gonna have to have that huge tent. We just
need a
have
huge
to.
tent.
Absolutely. It's
Trump
it's
won
crucial.
the election.
Yeah.
Wake up. We're in our
Mhm.
own little silos. How possible is it? It's possible. Okay.
Mhm.
And we need to welcome those people that are voting for Trump, and we need to not yell at them. Yes, call out the crap that these political leaders are doing. Call out the lobbyists. Call those people out, but don't blame the voters or the people.
Oh
not
yeah, don't
voting.
even get me started on lobbyists and dark money and
I've done a
oh my
couple
gosh,
shows
we could
about
be
it,
here for
girl.
like
It's
6
gross.
days.
I keep finding out more, and I'm like, oh, it's so
Oh,
bad.
it's
so
awful.
bad.
Oh my gosh, we could talk
Yeah.
forever.
It'll send you to bed. It'll send you to bed for a month. Don't do that.
So guys,
for
check
real.
out Indivisible. You can just go to the regular national page and then also search for your county or whatever your area is called. And if you can't
Yeah.
find one, like get on your wherever you talk to people that care and ask, is there an Indivisible? You could start one.
Yes.
There's
Yes,
already resources set up. My friend Patty, who started leaning liberal, was one of the people that started leaning pretty quickly. They were completely organized with Indivisible. I was just like,
It is
I couldn't believe how quickly they're like,
fantastic.
bam, we got one.
Yes. They
Yeah.
have so many resources. I kid you not. Like you will be overwhelmed by the number of resources.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But just nibble away at it, and there's
if you're-
everything you could possibly need.
And if you're
to be
watching
a
because
leader.
you already go to Indivisible, but you don't know about Project Next, please follow us. Please share our content. Please subscribe on YouTube. We have a Substack, Project Next Indiana, and then you can get emails of our shows. It's also on podcast form. You can go to Apple, you can go to Spotify, and get it as a podcast. And please rate and review and help us out. We are growing, but again, social media, it is being suppressed right now. This type of content, they don't want us working together, so they try to just kind of hide us a little bit. So we do need a little bit of your all's help, we the people. So I appreciate any help that you can with Project Next. I'd like to have you all back on again, especially if you have a specific thing you want to talk about, a specific nonprofit, or if you have fixed some stuff, like if you have solutions, like if we all get and do these certain things, we can stop this certain thing. I would love to shine a light on what you all are doing. And I cannot thank you two enough. You all are your heroes.
You're welcome.
So
I think the beginning of October is going to be pretty revealing because the federal budget will have been finished by then, and we'll know a lot about what new cuts are coming down the pike.
If you are good at that, at looking at it and knowing what cuts there are, I'm not a numbers person. If you're the facts person and you want to come on and teach it to me, let me know. You text me.
She's the one for that, for sure.
And then we can get on, because I'm trying to let regular people that are really busy just put our show on their earbuds while they're doing their chores and catch up on what they need to know so we can protect our communities. Yeah.
One thing we're getting ready to start is having people go in to the state house and give personal testimonies.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's great.
To the committees. So maybe we could have somebody come on and talk about doing that.
That's a great idea. I have a couple friends that are in the state house, and
excellent.
To hear how the sausage is made is horrifying. They get these massive bills and they got to read it during the night, and then they have to pass it the next day. And then lobbyists are telling them fake things about it. And then the lobbyists that don't have as much money are trying to get in and say, no, this is the truth, but they don't make time. But it's a mess. And I'm horrified at how laws are actually passed. And
there were thousands of bills introduced last legislative session, and there'll be thousands that are going to come through in January. Well, 99% of them never make it out of committee, but you still got to look at them. You still got to figure it out.
Wendy Chester came on the show, and she was telling me about the bills and how she would read them and her job. And I'm like, her job sounds so hard, because she was trying so hard to do the right thing, and she did a good job. This was her first time being in there. And she did a great job for being new, but I just was horrified at how hard her job is. How can she pass legislation that actually helps Hoosiers with the way it's done? It's like, why are we doing that? Why don't we change the way it's done so it's not like this?
Well, you heard so many Republicans after the big, ugly, nasty bill got passed saying that they were unaware of so many parts of it.
And how could they know?
They voted on stuff they didn't even read.
Yeah, because
that's
it was thousands
just appalling
and thousands of pages.
Yeah, it's just appalling.
I'd use ChatGTP. I would dump it in there and I would ask it a bunch of questions to summarize it. That was what I was going to do if I won my House seat, which it's very gerrymandered. I didn't win, but if I won, that was my plan. Pump it in there, ask a bunch of questions, come back, throw out the things that I learned to everybody and try to teach everybody so that we knew whether to say yes or no to it, and then try to get some Republicans on my side. But that sounds so hard because you had so little time. It's like, when do you
Yep.
sleep? When do you exercise?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. The window is very small to try and get knowledgeable about 3,000 bills. So
my
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite thing about doing Project Next is meeting people like you two, and shining a light on what good you do. It
Mhm.
is hard right now because there's a lot of scary stuff, and I just have to say, for everybody that's paying attention, regardless of how you voted, we're scared. If we're
Mhm.
paying attention, if we're
Yeah.
looking at prices, if we're seeing about healthcare and our hospitals might close, most of us are scared. And I just
And
want you to
and
know
realistically, we should be.
we should be scared. And you all give me hope. So
Mhm.
keep fighting. I'm
Yep.
here for you. If you need a mental pep talk, you have my numbers. Come on again and teach me some more stuff.
Yep.
But we're not alone, everybody.
Yep. Don't give up hope.
And don't turn your blinders on so far that you stop caring,
Yep.
but don't open them so much that you get overwhelmed.
It's
Pick your
okay to
one
take
thing.
breaks.
Pick
Absolutely.
your one thing. And when you're overwhelmed and you're yelling and you're struggling, take a break.
This is what I'm fighting for.
Big hugs. Love so much.
There's
If
my
you're not seen
girl.
on video. Aw. You are just too cute. I can't even handle it. I've got 7-year-old twins and a 15-year-old, and I'm fighting for them too. And
She's 5 next week.
oh, happy birthday. Yeah, it's hard out there, but we're organizing. Indivisible's been doing this for a while. This is a
Yep.
fantastic organization
It is. It
to
is really
give
great.
some of your time to, and you get to pick what you're good at. You don't have to come on a live show. You can help in the background.
Yeah,
what
there are a
you
lot of
good
ways to
at?
help that don't involve being on camera.
Grow
My
that
sister
thing.
would never do this.
Give her a hug for me and tell
She
her I
But the
support
woman
her.
can make a mean zine. So,
She does make a
she's-
mean zine.
I don't know what that means.
They're little
they're-
tiny
it's-
magazines.
little tiny magazines. They're
Informational
like the new
booklets.
hashtag. They're
Oh,
they are.
they're
That's
brilliant.
It's cute. Yeah, I don't know all this stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah.
just, what are you good at and what amount of time can you give?
Right.
And it sounds like both of you are very
Everybody
busy.
can do something.
We can all do something.
There's
We have
always
to.
something that you
We
can
have
do.
to, because if we don't,
Yep.
this is going to continue, and it's kind of going very fast. It's much faster than I thought it was going to be.
I agree. Yeah, I keep saying that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I expected us to get here, but not this fast.
not this fast. My co-founder Tim Peck, who's running for Congress, and he's a ER doctor, he is also surprised at how quickly they can do this. But he knows a lot about what goes on in DC, so he gives me a lot of those tips, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
not good.
No, not good.
Well,
okay.
Agreed.
It was totally intentional, the whole drinking from the fire hose that we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, agreed.
But
Yep.
but we can circle we can circle back. We can circle the wagons and still get
I
back where we
agree.
need to be.
I just want to
I
give a
agree.
personal shout out to the things that help me.
Mhm.
I have a therapist that I meet online every 2 weeks. Aaron.
Good
Thank you,
plan.
Aaron.
Good plan.
Now I
absolutely.
have a Project Next mentor, and you might know him. Do you know Scott Johnson? He is a mentor now for
Yes,
me.
I do.
He
I
helped.
do.
Yes, he was one of the people that got gaslit
Yes.
out of 50
Yeah,
51. That was
yeah.
real stupid of them.
Yes.
He's amazing.
I agree.
But good for me. And as soon as I found out he got kicked out, I asked if he would help me with Project Next. And
Yep.
so
Excellent.
he helps me. So I want to just shout out to Scott. Thank you for doing that for me.
Oh.
Shout out to Corinne Straight. She's making lots of content, and she's a friend of mine. She's growing and pumping out stuff about Indiana. And Tim Peck, my co-founder. I just want to say there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that keep me mentally fit enough just to be able
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
Just to be able
Yeah.
to do this. And so
And like I
you all
said,
make sure
it is
you have your
okay
support
to
system.
take a break.
Take a
It's
break.
okay to take a break.
Make
Because
sure
like you
everybody
said,
that's listening
this is
has
a
a support
long
system.
haul.
Yeah.
Because even after Trump is gone, regardless of how he is gone, in whatever manner that may be, we still are going to have a lot of work to do.
We're going to
Because-
have to build, we're going to have to fix the
Such
things
a-
that have been broken.
Phenomenal amount of damage has been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day of
I don't-
damage is going to take a long, long time to
Yeah.
repair.
And we
And not
can.
only that,
can do it.
we had a lot of work to do even before they got in and started
Right.
breaking things.
Right.
Like we
Yeah.
really needed to do some serious restructuring.
It's not, it hasn't
honestly.
been we the people
It
ever,
has not. Yeah,
but it's
no,
been
I
more
agree.
than a lot of
Yeah.
other countries have.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we have to always keep fighting. Democracy is
Yes.
messy.
Yeah.
And it
We
takes a
need to
lot
be
of work.
constantly striving closer to that ideal, because we have that in our head, right? We have that American myth of what we think America is.
But once you get in there, you realize, oh, it's
Yeah.
rich people. It's these
So
people that
we
have
need to keep
power. Yeah, yeah,
working
yeah.
towards
Yeah.
the reality of making
Yeah.
that happen, right?
Yeah. I'm so tired of people blaming poor people for our problems,
Yeah.
blaming the pride community, blaming if you came from a different
People of
country.
color.
It's
Yep.
like, let's stop
Mhm.
gaslighting and
Yep.
blaming other people for your mistakes that you caused.
Yeah.
And let's shine a light on what you've done. And now let's come up with solutions that could actually fix it. Let's pass it and let's do it. But we need so many better people in our government to do that. And it's hard to get them in.
Absolutely.
It's hard to get
I
them in.
think we need
Yeah.
a really huge purge. Yeah.
I have
Not,
people
tired-
not
I'm
just
tired
on
of
one side of the
faces.
aisle.
Yeah.
I have people that I like, even on both sides. It's fewer now on the Republican side than it used to be, because a lot of the good Republicans have gotten kicked out or they've been
Yeah.
silenced.
Agreed.
And not
Agreed.
saying they're not good. They're just blindly doing the authoritarian thing and just voting however they're told.
Yeah. And I don't have a lot of respect for that. If you're blindly doing the Republican or the authoritarian thing right now, no. I
get
feel
it.
like
I
that
get
has
why
to
they
go
do
too.
it. That's what I'm saying. Though. I
Right.
get why they
I
do it.
do.
Some
I
of them
get
are
why
being
they do it,
blackmailed.
but
Some
I'm
of them,
sorry if
you
you're
know, are
going to
gonna
go
lose.
along with that. No, I can't.
It's like
Yeah.
I see it better. Why
Who
it
exactly
happens.
is your constituency?
Yeah, I
Right.
see why it happens now better. I have more empathy for the people
I
that are.
understand that, but if you're going to allow it to happen, like you're sending people to be eaten by alligators or tortured in Seacot, I'm sorry, I
Well,
can't. I
and
can't condone that.
without things like term limits, when everybody
Right.
gets elected to Congress with the goal
Yeah.
of keeping their job,
Right.
then what they got elected, all the stuff that they spewed trying to get elected goes out the window, because they
Yeah.
spend the rest of their time in
Yeah,
Congress
you know
trying
what
to
you're
keep their
supporting at
jobs.
this point. Like,
And I've done
know,
shows on this before,
you know
but
what
something that
you're
I've
behind.
learned doing my a media company with Tim Peck is I didn't fully see how bad sexism is.
Oh yeah, it's
And
really
how bad
awful, isn't
sexism
it?
was with Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
and she had racism too. But like,
Right.
but
Yeah,
like
poor thing.
I
She got a double
I
whammy.
get publicly told the way I think is wrong, and Tim Peck doesn't, and he thinks the same.
Right.
And it's because I'm a safer person to attack, and I'm getting attacked by Democrats. So don't be all acting like the Democrat side's all great and not.
No,
sexist.
I know.
Our
I
side's
told you they
sexist too.
infuriate me too.
So I just like that was kind of surprising to me.
Right.
Like the people that
Yeah.
tell me I'm wrong because I'm a safe person to tell. What I will never stop calling
Yeah,
that
it's
out
crazy.
because I don't want my daughter to be told she's
there's
wrong.
enough
as much.
old white men to go around.
Like I said, I
too.
think
And it's
most
not
of
always
it needs to
men.
be
I
purged.
get told I'm wrong by women because they feel comfortable telling me.
Yeah.
It's not, it's in the culture. I'm not saying these people are
Yeah.
terrible people. I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
in the culture. We don't know better. We've grown up with it. We just assume this is the way things are.
Yeah.
And I just kind
Yeah.
of was a little bit surprised. I thought
Yeah.
it would be both me and Tim.
Oh no, I graduated with a science degree, so I know exactly what that's all
Oh,
about.
girl. Do you know how many times I had a good idea teaching and I would say it in our faculty meetings and I would be immediately silenced and eyes rolled, I'm ridiculous. And about 2-3 months later, the guy says it and
yeah.
everybody does it. I'm like,
Oh, that's a fantastic idea.
I mean, I bet
I
a lot of women.
I worked in the South for 25 years in an
Yeah,
executive
there you
position.
go. There you go.
And yet there were still companies I worked with who would only talk to my male boss.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
It still
so
happens, even
We're-
today.
But we're gonna
drives me
push it.
nuts.
It's still gonna be there.
We'll fix
and
it.
like it's still gonna be there.
But
we're
who's
gonna
leading the
push it.
resistance, women?
Yeah.
Who's leading it right now?
Most of the people that I find running these nonprofits are mostly women. It was such a nice surprise to find Scott Johnson.
Yeah.
And I need
Well,
his male confidence. He gives me a lot of tips about how to have that confidence of a successful white guy.
That was the conversation I had the day after the election as well with my Republican father and my former Republican boyfriend. They're like, it's not going to be that bad. I'm like, wow, you sound exactly like a straight white male. And, and that's why you see that, because that's the lens you have. And, and you're wrong. And so, you know, apparently this is a whole other podcast about.
Yeah. If we want to come up with like, what's it like to be a woman and try to lead things, I think we could do an episode on that. We could give women tips because they never say, I just want to let you know, I'm going to say a sexist comment right now. They say it in an underlying thing, and it kind of takes you a minute to realize, oh, I think that was sexist. Okay.
You're so emotional or whatever. Yeah.
You two are awesome. Keep it up. I'd like to have you both on the show again. Just message me. Especially if you're really, if you keep messaging me, you have a greater chance of getting on the show, because I can only make so many shows a week. So don't stop. Don't take it personal. Just like, you know, I'm a mom of three kids, and, you know, things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So thank you guys. And thank you for every single human working with Indivisible across the country. Thank you.
Send more our way.
We need more. Go there, go to the webpage, go to their local thing, find their local one, go to a meeting. I've been to ones before it became Indivisible, when it was liberal leaning, and it's a great place to meet, because it's people that are concerned about democracy and saving the country. It really
is so encouraging to be with other people that you know are like-minded. That really helps with
you're not alone
too.
You're not
it really does.
alone.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us a shout out. We really appreciate it.
Sorry, it took a couple times to reschedule. Yeah. It's been crazy. Okay. You guys check out Indivisible. Hopefully you learn some things about them. I love how freedom-based they are. You could pick the things that you care about and run with it in your local chapter. You could start your own local chapter and get a bunch of resources and help. You are not alone. Get a friend to do it. Get your sister. Get somebody.
Get your sister.
So you're not doing it alone, because doing this stuff alone is scary. Like,
that's right.
I needed Tim Peck to start this media company. I needed his help. He is way smart and stuff. I am not. Get somebody.
Even in a super red city, you can find lots of other people that are like.
There are a lot of Republicans upset right now. Trust me, I live in a Republican county, and we have Republicans in our group.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Love you all. Very proud of you. It's really nice to talk to you and meet you. I hope you consider me a friend, because let's work together and save our state.
All right.
Bye, everybody.